Hello and welcome to the World News and Voice of the People TV. I am Fina Okechukwu. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website, that's on www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. And for call in on WhatsApp, the number is on 0904 473 2605. President Emmanuel Macron has named centrist leader François Bayrou as France's next prime minister in a bid to end months of political crisis. Bayrou is a mayor from the southwest and leads the MoDem party. Ahead of the announcement, he spent almost 2 hours with the president in talks described as tense by French media. He is seen by Macron's entourage as a potential consensus candidate, and his task will be to avoid the fate of his predecessor, Michel Barnier, who lasted just 3 months in office. Macron is halfway through his second term as president, and Bayrou will be his fourth prime minister this year. Russia launched a widespread attack on Ukraine's energy infrastructure overnight, forcing the country to implement emergency power outages. Ukrainian Energy Minister German Halushenko made this known in a post on Facebook. Halushenko said the extent of the damage is yet to be clarified, urging people to remain in shelters. Russia's forces have intensified bombardments of Ukraine in recent months, leaving the country in a dangerous position as the war enters its third year. In the meantime, the United States says it will give $500 million in military aid to Ukraine as part of the 11th hour push by outgoing President Joe Biden to bolster the country's defense before he leaves office early next year. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken unveiled the significant package of urgently needed weapons and equipment, which will include high-mobility artillery rocket systems, ammunition, drones, and armored vehicles. The new assistance followed closely on the heels of a $988 million security assistance package and $725 million weapon package announced earlier this month. National Security spokesman John Kirby said that Biden would continue to provide additional packages and right up to end of his administrations. Meanwhile, Syria today gathered in the capital city of Damascus for the first Friday prayers since the fall of President Bashar al-Assad's rule nearly a week ago. The leader of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the rebel group that captured the capital, joined the prayers and urged people to celebrate peacefully. Ahmed al-Shahara encouraged Syrians to head the squares to show their happiness without firing bullets or causing fear. Thousands are expected to take the street following prayers to celebrate the end of al-Assad rule. Meanwhile, a former Syrian government official has been charged with torture in the United States. Samir Usman al-Sheikh, who oversaw the Damascus Central Prison from 2005 and 2008, was charged by a federal grand jury with several counts of torture and conspiracy to commit torture. He was arrested earlier this year at Los Angeles International Airport on 2 immigration fraud charges. The U.S. Attorney Office Central District of California disclosed in a statement that al-Sheikh concealed his employment at the prison and denied prosecuting anyone in his U.S. visa and citizenship applications. U.S. officials say al-Sheikh personally inflicted severe physical and mental pain and suffering on political and other prisoners in his role under ousted President Bashar al-Assad. South Korea's parliament today advanced the time to vote on the second impeachment motion against President Yoon Suk-yeol by 1 hour. It was reported to the plenary session of the National Assembly that 300 lawmakers were scheduled to cast secret ballots 1 hour earlier than the previous plan. The main Liberal Opposition Party, Democratic Party, and 5 other minor parties submitted the second motion to impeach Yoon on Thursday and reported to the plenary session earlier in the day. Under the Constitution, the impeachment bill must be initiated by a majority of lawmakers and approved by no fewer than 2/3 of the National Assembly legislators. The opposition bloc will need 8 votes from the 108 ruling party lawmakers to pass the motion. A Chinese businessman described as a close confidant of the Duke of York has lost an appeal against a decision to bar him from the UK on national security grounds. The man, known only as H6, brought the case after being banned from entering the country in March 2023. Judges had the businessman had formed a close working relationship with Prince Andrew, receiving an invite to his birthday party in 2020 and being told he could act on his behalf when dealing with potential investors in China. H6 brought his case to the Special Immigration Appeal Commission, a court set up to consider appeals against decisions to ban or remove someone from the country on national security or related grounds. You are watching the World News and Voice of the People television. More stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the World News and Voice of the People television. Alternative for Germany leader Alice Weidel and Christian Democratic Union leader Friedrich Merz are in equal first in the race for a new German chancellor, a new poll from a German Political and Market Research Institute disclosed. In the December 13 poll, both designated candidates for their parties came in at 17% among those asked who should be the next leader of Germany. Current Chancellor Olaf Scholz of the Social Democratic Party garnered 14%, while the Greens Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck came in on 12%. Candidate for the hard-left Sahara Wagenknecht Alliance and its leader Sahara Wagenknecht stood at 10%. Some 22% of respondents said they would not vote for any of the mentioned candidates, while 9% said they did not know who they would block and back. Bolivia has extradited its former anti-drug director to the United States, where he faces drug trafficking charges. Maximiliano Davila, also known as Macho, is accused of facilitating cocaine smuggling to the U.S. during his time as head of Bolivia's anti-narcotic agency. His extradition was approved by Bolivia's Supreme Court in late November. He denies any wrongdoing. Davila had been in prison in Bolivia on corruption charges since February 2022. South Korea has confirmed its 10th case of highly pathogenic avian influenza for the season at a regional farm. The authorities said the latest case was detected at a dog farm in Buan, North Jeolla Province, some 204 kilometers south of Seoul, where 22,000 dogs were being raised. To prevent further spread, officials are currently controlling access to the farm to carry out investigations while quarantine the affected dogs. The authorities added that they will also conduct thorough inspections on 40 poultry farms in the area. The Ministry of External Affairs said the commentary seen in the Canadian media on granting a visa is similar to foreign interference in India's sovereign affairs. 3 Indian students were murdered in Canada last week, and the Indian High Commission in Ottawa has kept up the matter of safety of Indians with the Canadian authorities, the Ministry of External Affairs said on Friday. MEA spokesperson Randay G. Swal said the safety, security and welfare of Indian nationals in Canada remains of utmost importance to them. Canada's Jaiswal said the Indian mission in the country are in touch with the local authorities for thorough investigations of the incident. Jaiswal said that about last week they have had unfortunate tragedies with 3 Indian students murdered. He expressed sadness at what he described as the tribal and terrible tragedies that have struck their nationals in Canada. Seychelles has reiterated its commitment to ensuring that the Global Plastic Treaty is finalized by 2025, following the conclusion of the latest round of negotiation without an agreement. The 5th session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee tasked with developing a legal binding international instrument on plastic pollution took place from November 25 to December 1, 2024 in Busan, Republic of Korea. A potential goal of reducing the production of primary plastic polymers, prohibitions and limitation on chemicals of concern in plastic products, and problematic and preventable plastic products were the principal areas of disagreement. However, major oil producing nations and the High Ambitious Coalition, which includes the European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, and other African, Latin American, and Pacific nations, failed to reach a consensus on these points. For Seychelles, the treaty holds immense importance as a small island state, disproportionately affected by plastic population and pollution. The country's Director General of the Waste Enforcement and Permit Division in the Department of Environment, Nanit Lari, told the media Thursday they were disappointed that the treaty has not been finalized. The increase in European electricity prices on December 12, caused primarily by German electricity imports, has sparked anger throughout Northern Europe. Norway said it was not considering severing some of the cables that connect its electricity grid with the rest of Europe to insulate its market from foreign influence. Norwegian Energy Minister Terje Asland called the situation absolutely terrible. In southern Norway, the price explosion has meant resistance, and businesses have had to pay over €1.12 per kilowatt per hour at peak times, meaning a 5-minute shower would cost around €4 at market prices. Due to the absence of sun and wind in the past few days, the large fleet of renewable energy power plants in Western Europe, wind turbines and photovoltaic plants have generated almost no electricity. You're still watching the World News on Voice of the People television. We'll go on another quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with business, sports, and rest of the news. Stay with us.
Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Moving on to the business part of the world news. The UK economy shrank for the second month in a row in October as concerns about the budget continue to weigh on confidence. Official figures showed a 0.1% drop, despite expectations that the economy would return to growth after a fall in September. The Office for National Statistics said that activity had stalled on decline with bars, restaurants, and retail among sectors reporting weak months. Chancellor Rachel Reeves said the figure was disappointing, but added that he has put in place policies to deliver long-term economic growth. A Danish court has sentenced a British hedge fund trader, Sanjay Shah, to 12 years in prison in connection with what authorities say was a $1.3 billion tax fraud, Danish justice officials confirmed. Shah was extradited from Dubai last year to face trial on charges that he masterminded a tax scheme in which complex trades were used to fraudulently obtain tax refunds from the Danish government. At the time of his extradition, the Danish taxation minister described the case as one of the biggest criminal fraud cases in Danish history. Shah has argued that he exploited a legal loophole, and his lawyers have said he will appeal the sentence handed down Thursday. He was convicted in May 2023 in Dubai of running the scheme from 2012 to 2015, during which foreign businesses pretended to owe shares in some Denmark's largest companies. The sentence was the country's longest ever for a financial crime. Shah's extradition came after 8 years of investigation and extradition request by Denmark. He remains in custody. And moving on to the sports segment, England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland have discovered their 2026 World Cup qualifying opponents following today's draw in Zurich, Switzerland. England, under new manager Thomas Tuchel, will face Serbia, Albania, Latvia, and Andorra. Wales will meet familiar foes Belgium, North Macedonia, Kazakhstan, and Liechtenstein. Scotland will play Greece, Belarus, and the loser of the Portugal against Denmark Nations League quarterfinal. Northern Ireland are up against Slovakia, Luxembourg, and the winner of the Germany against Italy Nations League games. The game will be played across 5 international breaks between March and November 2025. The former coach of the Chinese national men's football team has been sentenced to 20 years in jail for bribery. Lai Tay, who also played for Everton in the English Premier League, confessed earlier this year to fixing matches, accepting bribes, and offering bribes to get the top coaching job. Lai, who was the national team's head coach from January 2020 to December 2021, pleaded guilty in March to taking over $16 million in bribes. The court said that this happened from 2015, when he was an assistant coach at the Hebei China Fortune Club, until 2021, when he quit as a national coach. In exchange for the bribes, Lee would select certain individuals for the national team and help football clubs win competitions. And that is it on the World News on Voice of the People Television. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. And for you to be part of all the programs playing throughout our own show on television here, we need you to call the WhatsApp number 0904-473-2605 for active participation. I am Fina Okechukwu. Thanks for watching.
From the views on the street
we go to bed empty hunger
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.